Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk where we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. Touchdowns on the gridiron, the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Getting lazy, didn't want to produce a video, so I figured I'd go live. I'm streaming this on both my channels. This started on Pro Fan Hoops, but also streamed it to Pro Fan Talk just to get the bandwidth out there. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was this game last night. I watched this game because I'm a fan of Toby Fournier. Been watching her since she was in high school. And her rookie season, her freshman season last year with Duke. So I wanted to watch Duke. They're ranked number 15. And honestly, after this game, they shouldn't be. But I watched this game from the Mountaineers. And Duke really was not playing very well. This is right at the halftime. This is when everything happened. For those of you who don't know, right before halftime, one of the girls from Duke blocked the girl from West Virginia, blocked her shot. And then she flexed on her, like got in her face, yelling. You know how they do when they block a shot. And the girl took exception to it and got in her face and pushed her. So the girl from West Virginia pushed the Duke girl. The Duke girl came back and pushed her back. And that started the whole thing. Now, what happened was everybody from West Virginia left the bench. Everybody that was playing for West Virginia left the bench. And the rule is if there's a fight or confrontation or something going on the court, if you leave the bench, if you are on the bench and you jump off the bench like you come in to fight, you will be expelled from the game. You will be kicked out of the game. That's exactly what happened. Duke only had one player come off the bench. That one player was kicked out. Matter of fact, no. The one player from Duke that was kicked out, she was kicked out because she got a flagrant 2. And I think it was the girl that pushed her back. Because this wasn't like getting in anybody's faces and kind of rubbing shoulders. This was a shove to the chest, and the other girl came back and shoved her back in the chest. And like it was really about to go there. So this was not just, people hyping each other up and getting each other faces and blowing off steam. Nah, they were pushing and shoving, and it was about to go there. So, and it looked like the first half of the game, Duke didn't look great. West Virginia didn't look great, but it was one of those things where if you were to look at this game, you would think that why is Duke playing down the competition? What's up, Dave Money? Why is Duke playing down the competition? West Virginia shouldn't be hanging. They were unranked, but 3-0, and Duke was ranked 15th, and they lost that game to Baylor. I watched that game. So the game was looking as if like Duke, you coming out flat. That's what you say. Duke came out flat, and it didn't look good. And I was like, what are they doing? Now, mind you, this is halftime. This is how bad Duke was playing. It's halftime. Look at the score. It's 23-20. This is a high school game, and I've seen many high school games with more points than this. It's 23-20, so Duke's has got a 3-point lead. And it wasn't like Duke took off and West Virginia had a good run. It was kind of close like this the whole first half. It was not a very good first half of basketball, period. Duke did not look good at all. Then this happens. And then you realize after all of the stuff, because the whole good morning, Ian. The whole halftime they were talking about this and who might be out and this, that, and the other, because they didn't know. The announcers didn't know. And then right before the half, it was almost like they got an extended half. And then right before everybody came back, The refs came to the announcers table, told everybody who got kicked out, who was playing, blah, 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 blah. And it was all, when it was all said and done, West Virginia had 6 players ejected. So literally, they had 5 players on the team that were active for play. 5. The 5 that were on the court. And here's the thing: everybody that was playing for West Virginia in the second half didn't start. They didn't start. The second half starts, and this is again and this is the best way I can explain this, so you'll understand what I'm talking about. It was as if, that time where you played Madden or you played 2K, the video game, and you play with your little brother or your little cousin, and they've been begging to play with you, and you just gonna beat the brakes off of them, so you miss shots on purpose. That's what it looked like. It looked like a video game. Duke could not buy a friggin' bucket. Duke, it was unreal. Toby Fournier, who can dunk, mind you, who can dunk with 2 hands. Toby Fournier was missing baskets. She was missing shots underneath the basket, in the paint, like directly underneath the basket. She could not hit a shot. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And then by the end of the game, it was Duke brought it back to 5 points, but they could never take the lead back. They could never get it back. Yeah, that's another angle of the fight. They could never get the lead back. That's the girl. This is the girl right here that blocked the shot, I believe. But it was crazy, man. Duke, I was like, there's no way that Duke deserves to be 15th in the country. No friggin' way. I'm sorry. I like Kara Lawson, think she's a phenomenal coach and was a phenomenal player. But Duke is not a good team, in my opinion. They are, no, let me say it like this. Duke is good, not great. And when I say good, yeah, they're pretty good. I'm not even putting them on the upper echelon of good. They did not look like a top 15 team whatsoever. So, and that second half proved it. You let an unranked West Virginia team with only 5 available players beat you in the second half. Nah, that's outright embarrassing. Kara Lawson should be embarrassed. If that's one of those things that happen where they start talking about, hey, well, maybe we need to start looking for another coach. That's a fireable offense in some places. I don't think Kara's going anywhere, nor does she need to. I'm just making a point. Coaches have been fired for a lot less. Hell, you remember 3 years ago in the tournament when South Carolina went undefeated that year, but in the SEC tournament, South Carolina beats Tennessee on that last second miracle 3-point shot by what's the tall girl that plays for Chicago now? She hits that shot. I can't believe I can't remember her name. Cardoso. Camila Cardoso. Camila Cardoso hits that 3-point shot because Dawn Staley said, give it to Cardoso because ain't nobody going to be Gardner, because nobody thought she would make the shot. And she banks in a 3-point shot. And the place went nuts. And Tennessee ended up losing the SEC title because of that shot. And the coach got fired. That's what I was getting to. She got fired. She was in the SEC finals and, for all intent and purposes, had won the game. And South Carolina hits a miracle shot and she loses and they fired her. So Yeah. I yo, I'm with you on that one. She fell to her knees. She fell to her knees and like in tears after that. I remember seeing the shot, and she after that shot went down, she just dropped to her knees and covered her hands. I remember that. I remember that. Yo, your mama. This is what it means to you ain't got nothing to lose. You're exactly right. You're 100% right. You was 100% right. Because I watched that game. I was like, are we finally going to get to the point where some of these games are competitive? Because I'm a fan of Malaysia. I'm a fan of Don Staley in South Carolina. I like LSU. I like Flauget. Um, I like those teams. I like Iowa State. I like Audi Crooks. What's the girl? I haven't really watched her play yet. Tania Latson. That's the girl that went from Florida State to South Carolina. I'm a fan of Silas Swords at Michigan. I am actively watching Kiyomi McMillan at Penn State because I was watching her. I'm in New Jersey, so I was watching her at Rutgers. And then when that whole thing happened last year, when she got suspended, the coach suspended her as they were playing USC, so she didn't have a chance to go toe to toe with Juju Watkins. But she's at Penn State now, and you know what? Penn State won the other day. So I'm just saying that that's somebody that I'm watching. So um, I am actively watching these women because I don't watch men's college basketball. I just don't. I enjoy watching the women's basketball better. But this game right here, Duke just looked bad. Duke Duke did not look good at all. Not at all. So um Lil Griffith, this is basketball talk, bro. Oh my god. I'm gonna be outside cleaning, getting the leaves out the yard. So I might go live on my other channel for that. So just to talk football. But I wanted to talk basketball this morning. I didn't feel like producing the video. I didn't feel like editing. None of that. I'm lazy. I got some stuff I want to do. I want to get my butt outside and out of this chair and move around a little bit, get a little exercise. So I'm gonna rake my leaves this afternoon because this is the week for leaf removal in the fall. So I'm gonna do that. Charging up my batteries for my leaf blower, all of that type of stuff. So yeah. But I just wanted to talk about that game for a minute. Um, that was incredible. That was incredible, and that was not a good look. That was not a good look. And I was looking for some. I got to go back and look at some of the post game comments from Kara Lawson to see what she said about that because that was embarrassing. That was probably well. I'm not gonna say that. I'll just say that was as a coach that's embarrassing. And you a top ranked team, and you get beat by a team that you are clearly supposed to be better than, and they only have 5 players, and you end up losing that game. And now, mind you, again, uh when you see going into the half, it's 23-20. You only put 23 points on the board in the first half, and West Virginia was hanging with you. That's a one possession game. And then you come out in the second half against a team with only 5 players, and you get beaten thoroughly. Thoroughly. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I still like Duke, don't get me wrong, but I was like, boy, that's a black eye. But this might be one of those moments that can galvanize a team because this is embarrassing. Nobody wants to get embarrassed, and you come out with a little bit more fire and a little, some other things can happen a little bit later on. So we'll see how this projects on them in the future. Because if I'm Duke, I'm pissed, and whoever I'm playing next, I'm beasting on them. I said it. I said it last night on Twitter. I said it on Twitter. This was one of those games in that third quarter, late in that third quarter, and it was a 12-point game. West Virginia is up by 12 points. And again, Duke can't buy a damn bucket in the second half. I don't know what was on. They shooting the ball like they was drunk or something. I don't know. But I was like, this will be the perfect opportunity for Toby Fournier to get the ball and just dunk on folks. Just dunk on them. Just to give Duke some type of spark. Somebody gotta go up and get it done. But it never happened. It never happened. Toby Fournier who can dunk with two hands was missing shots in the paint. I I ain't never seen the team miss that many shots. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely crazy. So I didn't get it, but hey, one of them things, man. One of them things. Uh, I'm trying this new get up from YouTube that lets you stream to landscape and like mobile video at the same time. So we'll see how this turns out. But but yeah, man, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. Um so yeah, that was a game. I know there's another game today that I wanted to watch. I think it was South Carolina and somebody else. I'm working on a video. I'm gonna get my top. I'll probably have to do a top 10. I want to get my top 10 players to watch this year. Now I'm doing this, and I gotta make it clean. I'll make it clear in the video when I do it. Um, this is not ranking. I'm gonna do a top 10 players that I want to watch. This is not a ranking, like who's the best player. This is it's gonna be a list of my personal opinion of players that I want to watch. That's how it's gonna do. I think also was Lawson, you the coach of the USA team. You the coach of the USA. Yo, that's a great point. That is a great point. You the coach of the USA team, dig deep and help them find something within themselves. I agree 100%. However, I will say this. Good point, by the way. I will say this. As a coach, because I've been in these situations when I coach, and it doesn't matter if you coach in little league, high school, or college. Hell, even in the pros. It's just the way you deal with people and how you talk at people. Um, that's the difference. Now, when you dealing, I've been in a situation like this where we getting blown out, but I'm dealing with kids. I'm dealing with 10, 11, 12 year olds. I've seen it happen, and it's happened to me in high school and in college. So I understand how you talk to people. And I've talked to high school students in competition and stuff like that. So my experience in this varies a little bit, but um, you can't, there's only so much you can say in a situation like this because you, as the coach, are not on the court. So there's what you gonna do. You ain't shooting free throws. You're not setting picks. You're not making passes. You can't get an assist, and you're not popping jumpers. So as a coach, what exactly can you do? What exactly are you going to say that hasn't already been said? I know Kara Lawson is a very competent coach and a very good coach. What is she going to say at that particular moment that's going to invigorate the team if they can't, they're experiencing it. This is where a coach says, you ain't got no pride. This is what you putting on the court. You ain't got no pride. You like, what's going on? That's the only thing a coach can say in a situation like this. What's up, Tiff? Yeah. I'm doing basketball. I just shared it with my Pro Fan Talk. This was really Pro Fan Hoops, but since I'm trying to grow the channel, I figured I'd share it with both. So if you normally see me on Pro Fan Talk, head on over to Pro Fan Hoops and hit me with that subscribe. So um, basketball's getting thick, so I'm excited that we almost there. And plus, when I get Pro Fan Hoops up to 500 people, then I can, you can get the super chats and all of that kind of stuff, so I can start making it run. But I appreciate you, Tiff. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, what are you going to say to the kids? And that happens in football and all that other kind of stuff. When I used to coach football, I coached football for 10 years, and I would tell kids like when they getting beat on the field, the one thing I would always say, my phrase was, "Don't get mad, get better." Because if you mad on the court, if you mad on the field, that ain't doing me no good. If you can't focus that anger and expel it on this particular player or make that tackle or make a play, your anger is doing me no good. And especially when you're talking about kids, and in some situations, especially when you're talking about women, it ain't no different. with men, because men get out of control, women get emotional. That's how that works. Women get, both parties get anger, but when you look at men versus women, how we react and how we built and the psychology and all of that kind of stuff is to me is very simple. When men get angry, they get out of control. When women get angry, they get very emotional. But the end result is the same. When you get so angry that you can't focus on what you're supposed to be doing, when you get so emotional that you can't focus on what you're supposed to be doing, the end result is the same. How you get there might be different. One group went down South Street, the other group went down Broad Street, but you ended up in the same place. And that's what happened. I don't know. I guess, and this is a thing, and I'm looking, and isn't it funny how the refs immediately came in, got control of the situation, but they can't find refs to do that shit in the WNBA. Well, that is amazing to me. That is absolutely amazing to me. So there's a lot of content coming, y'all. I appreciate y'all. There's a lot of content coming because the shit that's going on in women's basketball right now, the college game, the women's college game is going to be on fire. Hannah Hidalgo just lit the spark the other day. I did a video on Hannah Hidalgo. Check it out. 44 points, 16 steals, and 9 rebounds. She couldn't get one more rebound for that triple double. But 16 steals, she broke an NCAA record. Hannah Hidalgo, I almost want to say, is my number one to watch in college basketball. The only person I put above Hannah Hidalgo, in my opinion, is Sarah Strong and UConn. They defended national championship. So Sarah Strong is number one. Hannah Hidalgo is number two. Malaysia is number three. Tanaya Latson and Tess Johnson down in South Carolina, 4, tied at 4. And then you got Silas Swords. Oh, and I'm sorry. Put Olivia Miles at TCU as number 4. So there's a lot of people. Then you got Lauren Betts and UCLA, Silas Swords at Michigan. Even though Keomi McMillan is somebody that I want to watch, but the vast majority of people ain't watching Penn State because Penn State was god awful last year. So she's trying to be a big fish in a middle-sized pond. And I say that because she was at Rutgers, so she was trying to be a big fish in a little pond. Even though Rutgers is D1, Rutgers, because look at it now. Has anybody watched Rutgers? Has anybody talked about Rutgers since she left? Who's the marquee player on Rutgers right now? I don't even know what their record is. And I talked about this last year when the situation happened. That is a conversation that I am going to get into a little bit later. I need to write that one down because I don't want to forget it. That is a very interesting situation. Just like last night when they get into this fight before halftime, because all the girl was doing, she blocked the shot, and I'm sure that it was probably some jaw jacking and smack talking going back and forth. That's what happens in competition. But even like in the NFL, they're trying to take the taunting and the emotion out of the game. So when you block a shot, what's the first thing everybody does? They wanna flex, and you yelling in somebody's face, and they right there. And the girl was like, "Not today." So technically, that girl from West Virginia, she cost her team 6 players. But did she inspire the win? Because the conversation becomes, what do you do with these kids now? What do you do with these NIL kids how do you discipline them when all they can do is jump ship and go to another team? That was the situation with Keomi McMillan. Whatever, because if you watched Keomi McMillan, and this is where the reason why I bring her up, because to me, Keomi McMillan and the situation that happened with USC and her leaving the team, that encompasses everything people think is wrong with NIL right now. You got it. She's clearly a talented player. She's a crazy ball handler. And if you watch some of the highlights she had at Rutgers, she was doing things, spinning on folks, and like she was crazy with it. Her handles were crazy with it, and she was embarrassing people. But you also saw other members of her team on the court during the game, just sitting there with their arms folded, like, "Oh, here we go, here we go. I know she's gonna pull it up. I know she's gonna do everything on her own." She was the consummate ball hog, but she had skills. So whatever happened had to have happened with the teammates. Like, I'm sick of you hogging the ball, we running the play, and then you don't pass the ball. And it was a stereotypical thing. You got somebody with crazy talent that's trying to take it over and do it everything on their own, and the rest of the teammates just sitting around. Literally, there was women on the court for Rutgers with their hands on the court during the game with their hands just watching like this. I was like, wow. And then the next game against USC, and I'm sure there's more stuff to it than I'm leaving out and forgetting. But go look up the story. Go look up the story. The coach suspended her a game, and that game was USC. And the question is, how do you suspend your best player? So now Keomi McMiller has an opportunity to go up against Juju Watkins, the #1 player in the country. And now you can see how your skill level measure up. Because when I tell you Keomi McMiller was breaking ankles, she was breaking ankles. And this would have been a very good litmus test against a complete player like Juju Watkins in the USC Trojans. And the coach suspended her. Now, mind you, they got mopped. Rutgers got mopped. And the other part of that is, does that coach still have her job? Because that player could get you in the tournament. Now, you're not going to the tournament. The school's not getting any recognition. You're not getting any money, and whatever comes from making it deep in the tournament. Now that opportunity is gone because you limited your best player. After she got suspended, Keomi McMiller went on her Instagram and was like, hey, apologizing to the fans, but it wasn't her decision not to play. Basically, she threw her coach under the bus. And shortly thereafter, she announced her plans to leave Rutgers. So the question becomes, what do you do with players when you have to discipline the players? What is a coach to do? Where does that put the coach in a sense like this? Because again, you got NIL, and what does she do? She goes to Penn State. Now, Penn State wasn't a very good team, but they're a lot better now. And again, like I said, I watched Penn State. I haven't seen Rutgers, so I got to see what they're doing. Who's picking up that torch and running with it for Rutgers? They had somebody on the team that was bringing eyes to watch them. Now they don't. What happens to that coach? What happens if they have another losing year and that coach gets fired? Ultimately, benching that player is why she got fired. Because if it's all about winning, it's a very interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation. With this, the things that this NIL is doing. You saw what happened down at LSU with the football coach. And we're like, who's got the power? It's not about the money anymore. Who's got the power and the influence, and all about bringing eyes? And you saw they just got the deal done with YouTube and ESPN, Disney, all of that type of stuff, man. The landscape has changed. We are the people. Everybody in here, all y'all in here watching me, it tells me I got 18 people watching me right now. But everybody watching me, you watching some YouTube. You watch YouTube more than you watch your terrestrial television. That's why the whole YouTube TV thing is the old fogey stogies don't want to admit they waited too late. They thought they was the only game in town, and YouTube just snuck in and just kept doing what they were doing. YouTube did the same thing Amazon did. Y'all remember when Amazon first started and the only thing Amazon sold was books? Do y'all realize that there's some kids now that don't even know that? They Amazon's been around long enough that there's a generation of people that don't understand that Amazon started out as a bookstore. and they lost money on purpose. Amazon undercut everybody to get the market share. You could go to Border Books. You could go to Barnes and Noble and get the books. Remember that was that big boom. You would go to Barnes and Nobles or Borders Books, and it turned into an experience. You would go to the bookstore, and they had, next thing you know, they had coffee. Next thing you know, they were selling snacks and magazines, and they had couches in there so you could sit down and you could like go to sleep in the bookstore. They had couches and lazy boys and recliners and all of that type of stuff. And it became an experience. You could go to the bookstore and spend 2 hours and read the books in the store because they had to compete with what was going on. And slowly but surely, Amazon started coming in, and they were selling the book that cost $10 at Barnes and Nobles was only $7.99 at Amazon. And they were like, I don't want to buy it offline. I want to go to the bookstore and have the experience. And slowly but surely, everybody stopped doing that. Convenience. Convenience. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about, man. It's a lot of I've been doing research on Project B. I'm gonna have a video about that, Project B, and where that's headed. And that's very interesting. It's not Saudi backed money like I thought it was, but it's got some Saudi influences, and you got some people with deep money. You got people with tech money. Tech money is probably second only to oil money. And these are the people that start in this league. And if they get the right people, what's up, Q? If they get the right people in this league, I don't think it's a big deal that Alyssa Thomas signed. To me, Alyssa Thomas is an old player. I don't want to see Alyssa Thomas that much. I want to see these new players come in. Alyssa Thomas, yeah, that doesn't excite me. Nneka Ogwumike is a phenomenal player. And the only reason she's getting the headlines, in my opinion, that she's getting now is because she's the president of the WNBPA, and she joined another league, or she, it's a whole big conflict of interest right now. But the reality of it is, you take these quote unquote stars. Now I'm jumping into W a little bit. You take these stars, and this is not a hard question. You look at what's going on in the WNBA. You look at all of the people, and I know everybody talk the shit about it's more than just one person, whatever. I don't even want to get into that argument no more because people can't see the forest for the trees. But in this situation, if you would try to name 5 players that you want to see in a different league that you would follow, that you would actively watch. Nneka Ogwumike is not on that list. Neither is Alyssa Thomas. If you want to talk about the players you see, let's keep it real. Let's keep it obvious. Caitlin Clark is number 1. Angel Reese is number 2. Asia Wilson is number 3. The last 2 spots, and again, this is just my opinion, the last 2 spots, Sabrina Ionescu, because in my opinion, Sabrina Ionescu's profile got blasted so high when she did that NBA 3-point shot with Steph. I wish Caitlin Clark would have done it, but Caitlin Clark didn't need to. But Sabrina Ionescu, her profile was up there, and I would also say either Fee or Stewie. I would go with Fee. Fee's the phenomenal player. Fee's got the look. She got the cover girl looks, all of that stuff. So I'm looking at those 5 players. Who did I say? Caitlin, Angel, Asia, Sabrina, Fee. Those 5 players. And you could extend that list, but who do you want to see? Even the young players. What young players do you want to see in the new league? What young players? That's the question that people want to ask. You're talking about starting another league. The league is only going to have 66 players. So you got to maximize what you got. You got to maximize the draw power. Who do you want to see? Nneka Ogwumike is a phenomenal player. So the basketball purists will say she's one of the best. The casual fan, and I say this all the time, the casual fans are the ones that pay the money. There's not many purists. If you go to a team, look at Indiana as an example. You go to the Indiana Fever, all of those years where the Indiana Fever was not good, and you go to games and they're in the 20,000 seat arena and there's only 5,000 people showing up. Those 5,000 people, maybe 50 to 60% of those, if that, those are the diehard, hardcore fans that, good, bad, or indifferent, they are going to show up for that team. But the hardcore fans are not filling the arena. That's my point. So they gotta, if they spending this much money on scholarships and things of that nature, you got to get somebody that's going to fill the arena. And here's how I visualize it. Right or wrong, this is how I do it. If you got another way to do it, put it in the chat. You take anybody. If you say, again, obvious example. If you wake up today and hear on your radio, I'm in Philadelphia, right? I'm in South New Jersey, Philadelphia area. If they tell me Caitlin Clark is going to be at the Sixers arena today to talk about basketball and play in the exhibition game, how many people are going to show up? If you in Maryland, if you in Chicago, and you wake up today and you hear, hey, Angel Reese is going to be at this arena, at this venue, and she's going to be signing autographs, how many people are showing up? If Asia Wilson goes somewhere and you wake up and say, hey, Asia Wilson is going to be here signing autographs and doing this, shooting shots with some club teams or some youth girls teams or something like that, come and watch. Every ticket sold will raise money for insert charity here. When you look at those situations, if Caitlin Clark is going to be in your town, do you want to go? Yes. If Angel Reese is in your town, do you want to go see her? Yes. It's Asia Wilson. If she's in your town, do you? Yes. And you keep going down, and you keep getting those yeses. But here's where it gets different. You got to ask people that aren't interested in the sport. You got to ask people that I shouldn't say not interested. I should say not as interested. Yeah, I watch basketball. Yeah. Who's your favorite player? Steph. Because everybody knows who Steph is. Your grandmother that doesn't watch basketball knows who Steph Curry is. They know who LeBron is. Now they know who Wemby is. But still, there's a lot of people that don't know. Wemby's not mainstream yet, in my opinion. And that, to me, that's the key. You ask your grandmother that doesn't watch sports. You mention the name Michael Jordan. Mention the name Tiger Woods. Those are the names that break the threshold. Mention the name LeBron James. If you can mention a name, mention Caitlin Clark, mention Angel Reese. If you can mention a name to somebody that doesn't follow the sport, doesn't follow that thing, and they recognize the name, then that person, that athlete, has broken the threshold. They will make money. Everybody else, you take somebody that doesn't watch basketball, women's basketball, and you mention Alyssa Thomas, you mention Nneka Ogwumike, you mention anybody else. You mentioned Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum might have a little bit because of the drama she had with her marriage and all of that kind of stuff, because that's headline stuff. That's TMZ type stuff. So her name might be out there a little bit more, being infamous, not necessarily famous. So take the purists out of the situation, and the casual fans is what's going to pay the money. So how do we get here? I started talking about Duke basketball. So, but yeah, I'm about to shut it down. We've been rocking and rolling for 40 minutes. I only was supposed to go for like 15, but it's a lot of stuff going on in basketball right now, man. It's exciting. I'm excited for the college season. I want to see what's going to happen with the WNBA. I kind of think they shooting themselves in the foot, but that's just me. But it's going to play out one way or the other. But right now, college basketball is the way to go. Now the game's starting to get a little bit more competitive. Um, Now we're gonna see some of these teams tested, and the cream is gonna start rising to the top. So I'm excited. So I'll be having a lot more content on Pro Fan Hoops, trying to build it up. So make sure you subscribe, share it, um, and we're gonna continue this thing, man. So hope you had a good time. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's a little bit early, but trying to do something different. Now I might start another stream if I go and start doing my the Leafs. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. But if I do that, that will be football talk for real. So hey, I appreciate that, Joe Mama. Make sure you become a member of my team. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, man. Q, I'm still gonna start I think I am gonna start getting up like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I might do a stream in the morning where I just do it'll be me like just exercising. So if you want to exercise with me. So the goal is to start that this week, you know. But you know how goals get, I might wake up one day in that bed feeling mighty comfy, so I might not want to move. So, but in any case, man, good talk, man. Great conversation. Y'all know me. I like to have a conversation, not a monologue. So I appreciate everybody in the chat chiming in. Um, yeah, we're gonna do this again, man. I just wanted to talk about this Duke game because I actually watched that game and I was like, wow. So the season is young, but a lot of good things are happening. Uh, Women's college basketball is in effect right now. And the way things are going with the WNBA, it looks like that might be the only game in town for a second. So y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Be safe. Appreciate y'all. And I'm see you on the next one. Me and Tone will be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. because the Eagles don't play the Lions until like 8:20. I think we're the primetime game. So me and Tone will be up tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Bald Eagles podcast. You know how we do. And I will see y'all then. I'll probably have something late tonight. I don't know if I'll stream. If I do, it'll be like 10:30. You know how I do with the West Coast people. So I will holler at you then. I appreciate you. Talk to y'all later. Peace.